Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. As Kinshasa says that cases have hit 550 of Ebola in the country. The WHO chief both praises neighbouring Uganda for its response to the outbreak and asks that it reconsiders its lockdown of its borders with DR Congo. Also, in Nigeria, the military says that it has rescued over 400 women and children from Boko Haram extremists after they were abducted back in May. And an award-winning Somali referee is also denied entry to the United States ahead of the World Cup kickoff, despite the uncertainty and frustration felt by many African fans who'd been hoping to attend the tournament. The event remains a highlight in the sporting calendar. We hear from some of the hopes of the Moroccan team. But first, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ebola cases continue to rise as health workers say that much more needs to be done to bring the outbreak of the deadly disease under control. Kinshasa says that the number of confirmed infections has risen to 550, including 101 deaths. Meanwhile, Uganda's recorded 19 cases and 2 deaths. All but 5 Congolese nationals who'd crossed over the border. Now, on Monday, the visiting World Health Organization chief praised Kampala's response to the outbreak, but did ask that it reconsider its decision to close its frontier with its neighbour. That is where Emmett Livingston is, in DR Congo in Kinshasa. He tells us more.
Congo has again suspended flights to Bunia, the capital of Ituri province, which is the epicenter of the Ebola outbreak. Flights were supposed to resume over the weekend, but the government reversed this decision on Saturday morning, and it hasn't explained the reasons why. Nevertheless, it's an indication of the scale of the crisis that is currently buffeting Ituri, which has over 94% of Congo's recorded Ebola cases. The latest official figures say there are 515 confirmed cases with 91 confirmed fatalities. But given the huge difficulties in contact tracing and in testing samples quickly enough, the official numbers are almost certainly the tip of the iceberg. Aid officials who have spoken to us anonymously suggest there are probably thousands of suspected cases. Some recent projections about how this epidemic could play out are dire. In a study released on Friday, the US Centers for Disease Control found that in the worst-case scenario, Congo could record 20,000 cases in just 3 months. Avoiding that will entail rapidly scaling up the Ebola response and ensuring that patients are isolated to avoid infecting others.
Emmett Livingston there for us. Now, in Nigeria, the military says that it's rescued over 400 women and children from Boko Haram extremists after they were abducted in May. Now, the group was handed over to state authorities at a temporary camp in northeastern Borno state. Although the military says that they were rescued after an elaborate intelligence operations, accounts from some of the returnees do seem to contradict the official line. The country continues to struggle with kidnappings for ransom as it's increasingly used as a Boko Haram tactic. Samuel Okoya breaks it all down for us.
A military spokesman, Lieutenant Colonel Haruna Sani, said the victims were rescued from a heavily fortified Boko Haram enclave deep within the Mandara Mountains in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. The military said the rescue operation followed weeks of painstaking intelligence preparation and planning. 2 infants were said to have died due to exhaustion caused by the hardship they endured during their prolonged captivity. The military proudly describes the operation as one of the most significant hostage rescue operations carried out in northeast Nigeria. Most of the victims, who include children, were abducted during a Boko Haram attack in Ingoshe village 5 weeks ago. Some of the rescued victims told journalists that Boko Haram is still holding dozens of young boys and girls. The victims said Boko Haram allowed them to walk to a designated location where soldiers later picked them up. Their accounts seem to suggest that Boko Haram willingly released them and even had the luxury of taking some selected victims away. If so, this contradicts the military's account that the victims were rescued during a military operation. The abductions reflect Nigeria's growing insecurity that allows armed groups like Boko Haram to abduct hundreds of vulnerable civilians at a time.
Sam Olokoya there for us. Now, Kenya's former Chief Justice says that he was amongst activists arrested on Monday as they protested against planned construction of a parking facility inside of Nairobi National Park. David Maraga was held and detained while staging a sit-in and says that he was held whilst heading in to present a petition to the Kenyan Wildlife Service. Demonstrators say authorities are shrinking critical wildlife habitat whilst freezing the public out of decisions affecting their own protected areas. Maraga's warned that protecting the park is crucial to preserving the country's natural heritage for future generations.
It is extremely sad that instead of worrying that 27 out of 47 counties in Kenya are arid and semi-arid. What we are doing, what projects like this are doing is literally to extend that. We are happy to extend the arid areas instead of doing everything we can to save them.
Well, the countdown to FIFA's kickoff is picking up pace. Now, the Atlas Lions are focusing on their first match of the tournament, due on the 13th against Brazil. Morocco warmed up for the big North American event, though, with a friendly against Norway at the Sports Illustrated Stadium in New Jersey over the weekend. 4 years after reaching the semi-finals in Qatar, and the team's feeling good. Take a look.
They are ready, donning proudly the red and green. With just a few days to go before the World Cup kicks off, the Atlas Lions have only one thing on their minds: to shake up the United States and have their team go the distance.
We're here for the Atlas Lions, and we're going to make America dance.
We have really new players, and it's a continuity of great players. And what makes me confident is that our U20 won the World Cup.
At the 2022 World Cup, the Atlas Lions achieved the historic feat of reaching the semi-finals, a first for an Arab and African team. This time, the pressure is on. In their first match of the tournament, they will face powerhouse Brazil. The players say they are confident.
Yeah, they're a really good team, but we are prepared. I think Morocco we are a very strong team. We're compact, we're humble, and inshallah we're going to win the games.
Morocco's campaign kicks off on the 13th of June in New Jersey, United States. They will then face Scotland on the 19th of June before wrapping up the group stage against Haiti on the 24th.
Now, reconstruction continues in Derna in Libya. 3 years ago, Cyclone Daniel claimed thousands of lives, in part because of the dilapidated state of dams built back in the 1970s. The wound remains open.
Children laughing and parents enjoying the sunshine. In this brand new park, Derna is trying to return to normal life. Yet despite the smiles and these moments of lightheartedness, many remain haunted by the memory of the devastating floods that engulfed the city 3 years ago when Cyclone Daniel struck.
All those who survived the storm have survived physically but not psychologically. They've lost a large number of their loved ones. Mental health needs to be a priority.
On the night of September 10th, 2023, torrential rains caused 2 dams east of Derna to burst. Within a few hours, millions of cubic meters of water flooded the city, submerging it under up to 7 meters. According to the official death toll at the time, more than 4,000 people died, with tens of thousands missing and nearly 40,000 displaced. To recover from the disaster, a reconstruction fund was established in 2024 with a budget of $2 billion, placed under the authority of one of Marshal Haftar's sons, who controls eastern Libya. Today, according to construction site managers, nearly 80% of the projects have been completed.
We lost members of our families, friends and neighbors in the floods. But the progress being made with projects in the city allows us to say that the people we lost did not die in vain.
Derna is rebuilding, but among the new structures, the memory of the disaster remains intact.
Well, that's it for Eye on Africa for now. Thanks very much for joining us, and do so again if you can. Till then, take care.